Hi everybody, it's me Yaya, and I'm back. So I read through chapters 12 through 15 last time, and now I'm going to start with chapter 16 of Joshua, and of course I'm in the Amplified version because it's just more straightforward, easier to understand. Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay, territory of Ephraim. Then the lot, in parentheses, allotment for the sons of Joseph went from the Jordan Valley at Jericho to the waters of Jericho on the east in the wilderness, going up from Jericho through the hill country to Bethel. Then it went from Bethel to Luz and continued to Ataroth, the border of the Archites. It went down westward to the territory of the Japheletites as far as the outskirts of Lower Beth Horon, then to Gezer, and it ended at the sea. The sons of Joseph, Manasseh and Ephraim, received their inheritance. Now this was the territory of the sons of Ephraim, according to their families. On the east side of the border of their inheritance was Ataroth Adar, as far as Upper Beth Horon. Then the border went westward at Mikmethath on the north and turned eastward to the border, eastward to Taanath Shiloh, and continued beyond it to the east of Genoa. It went down from Genoa to Ataroth and to Naarah, touched Jericho, and ended at the Jordan. The border continued from Tapua westward to Brook Cana, and it ended at the Mediterranean Sea. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the sons of Ephraim, according to their families, in parentheses, clans. With the cities which were set apart for the sons of Ephraim, within the inheritance of the sons of Manasseh, all the cities with their villages, but they did not drive out the Canaanites who lived in Gezer. So the Canaanites lived among Ephraim to this day, and so the Canaanites live among Ephraim to this day, and they became forced laborers. Okay. Joshua 17, territory of Manasseh. Now this was the lot, in parentheses, allotment for the tribe of Manasseh. For he was the firstborn of Joseph. To Machir, the firstborn of Manasseh, the father of Gilead, were allotted Gilead and Bashan, because he was a man of war. So the lot was also made for the rest of the sons of Manasseh according to their families, for the sons of Abiezer, and for the sons of Helek, and for the sons of Azriel, and for the sons of Shechem, and for the sons of Hepher, and for the sons of Shemida. These were the male descendants of Manasseh, the sons of Joseph, according to their families, in parentheses, clans. But Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, had no sons, only daughters, and these are the names of his daughters: Mahlah, Noah, Haglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. They came before Eleazar the priest and before Joshua the son of Nun, and before the leaders, and said, "The Lord commanded Moses to give us an inheritance among our brothers." Sorry. So according to the command of the Lord, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so according to the command of the Lord, Joshua gave them an inheritance among their father's brothers. So 10 portions fell to Manasseh, besides the land of Gilead and Bashan, which is beyond the Jordan, on the east side of the river, because the daughters of Zelophehad, a descendant of Manasseh, had received an inheritance among his other sons, in brackets, whose inheritance went to their male descendants. The land of Gilead belonged to the rest of the sons of Manasseh. The territory of Manasseh reached from Asher to Michmethath, which was of Shechem. Then the border went southward to the inhabitants of En Tappuah. The land of Tappuah belonged to Manasseh, but the city of Tappuah on the border of Manasseh belonged to the sons of Ephraim. Then the border went down to the brook of Cana, south of the brook. In parentheses, these cities belonged to Ephraim among the cities of Manasseh, and Manasseh's border was on the north side of the brook, and it ended at the sea. The land on the south side belonged to Ephraim, that on the north side was Manasseh's, and the sea was their border. They reached to, in brackets, the territory of Asher on the north, and to the, in brackets, territory of Issachar on the east. Also, in Issachar and in Asher, Manasseh had Beth Shean and its towns, and and Also in Issachar and in Asher, Manasseh and Beth Shean and its towns, and Ibleam, and its towns, and the inhabitants of Dor and its towns, and the inhabitants of Endor and its towns, and the inhabitants of Taanach and its towns, and the inhabitants of Megiddo and its towns. The third is Napheth. But the sons of Manasseh were not able to drive out the inhabitants and take possession of these cities, because the Canaanites persisted in living in that land. When the Israelites became strong, they put the Canaanites to forced labor, but they did not drive them out completely. The sons of Joseph spoke to Joshua, saying, "Why have you given us only one lot and one portion as an inheritance, when we are a numerous people whom the Lord has so far blessed?" Then Joshua replied, "If you are a numerous people, go up to the forest and clear ground for yourselves there in the land of the Perizzites and the Rephaim, since the hill country of Ephraim is too narrow for you." The sons of Joseph said, "The hill country is not enough for us, and all the Canaanites who live in the valley have iron chariots, but those who are in Beth Shean and its towns, and those in the valley of Jezreel." Joshua said to the house of Joseph, to Ephraim, and to Manasseh, "You are a numerous people and have great power. You shall not have only one lot, but the hill country shall be yours. For though it is a forest, you shall clear it and possess it to its farthest borders. For you shall drive out the Canaanites, even though they have iron chariots, and they are strong." Okay, Joshua 18. Rest of the land divided. Then the whole congregation of the Israelites assembled at Shiloh in the tribal territory of Ephraim, and set up the tent of meeting there, and the land was subdued before them. There remained among the Israelites 7 tribes who had not yet divided their inheritance. So Joshua asked them, "How long will you put off entering to take possession of the land which the Lord, the God of your fathers, has given you? Provide for yourselves 3 men from each tribe, so that I may send them, and that they may go through the land and write a description of it with regard to their tribal inheritance. Then they shall return to me. They shall divide it into 7 parts. The tribe of Judah shall remain in its territory on the south, and the house of Joseph shall remain in its territory on the north. You shall describe the land in the 7 divisions, and bring the description here to me. I will cast lots for you here before the Lord our God. But the Levites have no portion among you, because the priesthood of the Lord is their inheritance. Gad and Reuben and the half-tribe of Manasseh also have received their inheritance eastward beyond the Jordan, which Moses the servant of the Lord gave them." So the men arose and went on their way, and Joshua commanded those who went to describe the land, saying, "Go and walk through the land and describe it, and return to me, and I will cast lots for you here before the Lord in Shiloh." So the men set out and passed through the land and described it by cities in 7 divisions in a book. And they came back to Joshua to the camp at Shiloh. Joshua cast lots for them in Shiloh before the Lord, And there Joshua divided the land to the sons of Israel, to each tribe according to their portions. The territory of Benjamin. The territory of Benjamin. Now the lot, or allotment, of the tribe of the sons of Benjamin came up according to their families, and the territory of the lot fell between the tribes of the sons of Judah and the sons of Joseph. On the north side, their border began at the Jordan. Then it went up the slope of Jericho on the north and up through the hill country westward, and it ended at the Beth Aven wilderness. Then the border continued southward to Luz, to the slope of Luz, that is, in parentheses, that is Bethel. Then the border went down to Ataroth Adar by the hill that lies south of lower Beth Horon. The border changed course from there and turned around on the westward side southward from the hill that lies to the south opposite Beth Horon. It ended at Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Jearim, a city of the tribe of the sons of Judah. This formed the western side of Benjamin's territory. The southern side was from the edge of Kiriath Jearim, and the border went on westward, went to the south of the waters of Nephtoah. Then the border went down to the edge of the hill overlooking the valley of Ben Hinnom, in parentheses, son of Hinnom, which is at the north end of the valley of Rephaim, and it descended to the valley of Hinnom, south to the slope of the Jebusite, and went on down to En Rogel. Then it turned southward toward the north and went on to En Shemesh and on to Geliloth, which is opposite the ascent of Adumim, and it went down to the stone of Bohan, and the son of Reuben. It continued to the north and to the south opposite Beth Arabah, and went down to the border, ended at the northern bay of the Salt, in parentheses, Dead Sea, at the south end of the Jordan. This was the southern border, and the Jordan River was in its border on the east side. This was the inheritance of the sons of Benjamin, according to their families, and according to its borders all around. Now the cities of the tribe of the sons of Benjamin, according to their families, were Jericho, and Beth Haglah, and Emek Keziz, and Beth Arabah, and Zamaraim, and Geba, and Zamaraim, and Bethel, and Avim, and Para, and Ophrah, and Shephar Ammoni, and Ophni, and Geba, 12 cities with their villages, Gibeon, and Ramah, and Beeroth, and Mizpeh, and Chephirah, and Moza, and Rechem, and Irpeel, and Taralah, and Zelah, and Haleph, and the Jebusite, that is Jerusalem, Gibeah, Kiriath, 14 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the sons of Benjamin, according to their families, in parentheses, clans. So I'm down here in the footnotes. Okay, so let's see. Let's see, verse 2, what are they talking about? Okay, so it says here, there remained among the Israelites 7 tribes who had not divided their inheritance. So it says down here, those tribes are Benjamin, Simeon, Zebulun, Issachar, Asher, Naphtali, and Dan. Okay. Okay. So verse 6. Okay, it says, you shall describe the land in 7 divisions and bring the description to me. I will cast lots for you here before the Lord our God. And it says down here, this was an important acknowledgement that the outcome of the lot casting would be controlled by God. It was not a matter of random selection. And then last one, verse 7. Okay, but the Levites have no portion among you, because the priesthood of the Lord is their inheritance. And it says down here, the priests received their sustenance from the various offerings that the people were compelled to bring. See Levi 6:26, chapter 29, chapter 7, verse 6 through 10, etc. Okay, I'm going to go on another chapter, Joshua 19. Okay, territory of Simeon. Then the second lot fell to Simeon, to the tribe of the sons of Simeon, according to their families, in parentheses, clans, and their inheritance was within the inheritance of the sons of Judah. So they had as their inheritance Beersheba, or Sheba, and Molada, and Hazar Shual, or Shual, and Bala, and Ezem, and El Tolad, and Bethel, and Hormah, and Ziklag, and Beth Markaboth, and Hazar Susa, and Beth Lebaoth, and Sharuhen, 13 cities with their villages, Ain, Rimmon, Ether, Ashan, 4 cities with their villages, and all the villages which were around these cities as far as Baalath Bear, Ramah of the Negev, in parentheses, south country. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the sons of Simeon according to their families. The inheritance of the sons of Simeon was taken from the portion of the sons of Judah, for the share of the sons of Judah was too large for them. So the sons of Simeon received an inheritance within Judah's inheritance. Okay. Territory of the tribe of Zebulun. The third lot came up for the tribe of the sons of Zebulun, according to their families. The territory of their inheritance extended to Sarid. Then its border went up westward and on to Maralah, and reached to Dabesheth, and reached to the brook east of Jokneam. Then it turned from Sarid east toward the sunrise as far as the border of Chisloth Tabor, and it proceeded to Daberath, and on up to Japhia. From there it continued east toward the sunrise to Gath-Hepher and to Eth-Kazin, and proceeded to Rimmon, which turns toward Neah. The border circled it on the north to Hanathon, ending at the valley of Iftahel. Included were Kata and Nahalau and Shimron and Idalah and Bethlehem, 12 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the sons of Zebulun according to their families. These cities with their villages. Okay, territory of Issachar. The fourth lot fell to the tribe of Issachar, to the sons of Issachar according to their families. Their territory was included Jezreel, Chesulloth, Shunem, and Hapharaim, and Shion, Anaharath, and Rabbith, and Kishion, and Ebez, and Remeth, and En-Ganim, and En-Haddah, and Beth-Pazaz. The border reached to Tabor, Shahazumeh, and Beth-Shemesh, and their border ended at the Jordan, 16 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the sons of Issachar according to their families, the cities and their villages. Territory of Asher. The fifth lot fell to the tribe of the sons of Asher according to their families. Their territory was Helkath, Hali, Betin, Akshaph, and Al-Melech, and Amad, and Mishal, and on the west it reached to Carmel and to Shihor Libnath, and then it turned eastward to Beth Dagon, and reached Zebulun and the valley of Iftahel, northward to Beth Emek and Neiel, and continued in the north to Cabul, and Abron, and Rehob, and Hamon, and Cana, as far as the great Sidon. Then the border turned to Ramah, reaching to the fortified city of Tyre, and it turned to Hosa, and it ended at the Mediterranean Sea at the region of Akzib, and included were Umma, Aphek, Rehob, 22 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the sons of Asher according to their families, these cities with their villages. Territory of Naphtali. The sixth lot fell to the tribe of the sons of Naphtali according to their families. Their border ran from Heleph, from Ok in Zaananim, and Adami Nekeb, and Jabneel as far as Lakum, and it ended at the Jordan. Then the border turned westward to Aznoth Tabor and went from there to Hokok, and it reached Zebulun on the south and reached Asher on the west, and to Judah toward the east at the Jordan. The fortified cities were Ziddim, Zer, Hamath, Rakath, and Chinnereth, and Adamah, and Ramah, and Hazor, and Kadesh, and Edrei, and Hazor, and Yiron, and Migdal El, Horem, and Beth Anath, and Beth Shemesh, 19 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the sons of Naphtali according to their families, the cities and their villages. Territory of Dan. The seventh lot fell to the tribe of the sons of Dan according to their families. The territory of their inheritance included Zorah, and Eshtaol, and Shemesh, and Sheal Laban, and Ajalon, and Ithla, and Elon, and Timnah, and Ekron, and El-Tekeh, and Gibbethon, and Baalath, and Jehud, and Benek Barak, and Gath Rimmon, and Me Jarkon, and Rakon, with the territory opposite Joppa. The territory of the sons of Dan went beyond these, so the sons of Dan went up to fight against Leshem, or Laish, and captured it. Then they struck it with the edge of the sword and took possession of it and settled there between the tribes of Naphtali and Manasseh. They renamed Leshem Dan after the name of their father, in parentheses, ancestor, Dan. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the sons of Dan according to their families, in parentheses, clans, these cities with their villages. When they had finished dividing the land for inheritance by its borders, the Israelites gave an inheritance among them to Joshua the son of Nun. According to the commands of the Lord, they gave him the city for which he asked, Timnath-Serah, in the hill country of Ephraim. So he built the city and settled in it. These are the inheritances which Eleazar the priest, Joshua the son of Nun, and the heads of the households of the tribes of the sons of Israel distributed by lot in Shiloh before the Lord at the doorway of the tent of meeting. So they finished dividing the land. And now down here in the footnotes, okay, let's see. Okay, verse 13. From there it continued east toward the sunrise to Gath-Hepher. Gath-Hepher, and it says down here, the birthplace of Jonah. So remember Jonah, he got swallowed up by the whale or Leviathan. Okay, so, okay, let's see. Okay, so verse 47. The territory of the sons of Dan went beyond these. So the sons of Dan went up to fight against Leshem or Laish and captured it. And it says down here, the tribe of the sons of Dan were unable to possess and control their original territory, whose native inhabitants were the Amorites and the Philistines. So I guess it's saying, so they went and controlled this other territory, I guess is what they're saying. Okay, anyway. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Okay, I guess these are some pretty short chapters. Okay, 6 cities of refuge. I'm in chapter 20. The Lord spoke to Joshua, saying, speak to the Israelites, saying, designate the cities of refuge, in parentheses, asylum. Okay, of which I spoke to you through Moses, so that the person, in parentheses, manslayer, who kills any person unintentionally without premeditation, may flee there, and they shall be your refuge from the blood avenger. He shall flee to one of these cities, and shall stand at the entrance of the gate of the city, and explain his case to the elders of that city. And they shall take him into the protection of the city, and give him a place to stay, so that he may live among them. If the blood avenger pursues him, they shall not hand the offender, in parentheses, manslayer, over to him, because he killed his neighbor unintentionally and without premeditation, and did not hate him beforehand. He shall live in that city until he has stood before the congregation for judgment. And if acquitted of murder, he must stay there until the death of the one who is the high priest in those days. Then the offender, in parentheses, manslayer, shall return to his own city and his own house from which he fled. So they set apart and consecrated Kadesh in Galilee, in the hill country of Naphtali, and Shechem in the hill country of Ephraim, and Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the hill country of Judah, beyond the Jordan east of Jericho. They designated Bezer in the wilderness on the plain from the tribe of Reuben, and Ramoth in Gilead from the tribe of Gad, and Golan in Bashan from the tribe of Manasseh. These were the appointed cities for all the Israelites and for the stranger sojourning, in parentheses, living temporarily among them, so that whoever killed any person unintentionally may flee there and not die by the hand of the blood avenger until he had stood before the congregation for judgment. Okay, I'm down in the footnotes. Let's see. Okay, verse 3. So that the person, in parentheses, manslayer, who kills any person unintentionally without premeditation may flee there, and they shall stand at the entrance of the gate of the city and explain the case. Okay, so it says down here, so this refers to without premeditation, and it says down here, literally without knowledge. The Hebrew terminology is not very precise, but adequate nonetheless to distinguish involuntary manslaughter from murder. In modern terms, the person who is guilty of manslaughter must not have been aware at the time that he was actually killing a human being, like the hunter who mistakes a man for an animal of prey. Or if he knew that his actions were affecting another human, he must not have been aware that those actions could result in death of the other person. In verse 5, it is also stated that the perpetrator must not have had hatred for the victim. And it is implied that if hatred was a factor, the killer is automatically ruled a murderer. Wow. That's a rough one. Because, automatically, right? My mind goes to, well, you might have really couldn't stand somebody, but you could still accidentally kill him, Now, you probably won't be sorry when they did, not that sorry, but it could be genuinely be an accident. So that's interesting. And, I don't know how all that works in modern times. I'm not a lawyer, but that's interesting. Let's see. Okay, so, and then it's referring us to see Numbers chapter 35, verses 20 and 21. Okay, let's see. Also in verse blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is also referring to verse 3. It says down here, literally, redeemer of blood. So, let's see, what is this? Okay, so verse B, so it says B, when it says blood avenger, it says literally redeemer of blood. The idea being that the one who kills the murderer of a relative redeems the guilt of the crime. The avenger was ordinarily a male next of kin, and he had the right or even the responsibility to execute the guilty party. Wow. Okay. So if you accidentally kill somebody, right? Hopefully it was an accident. If you did, you were racing for your life. You had to get out of that. You had to get out of that town and get to the nearest town of refuge before that person could catch up to you. So, yeah. Yep. Okay, what's next? Okay. Okay, so verse 6. He shall live in that city until he has stood before the congregation for judgment, and if acquitted of murder, he must stay there until the death of the one who is the high priest in those days. The offender, in parentheses, manslayer, shall return to his own city and his own house from which he fled. Once the high priest dies. Okay, so it says down here, if judged guilty, the killer would be put to death. Otherwise, the time he was required to spend in the city of refuge represented a less severe punishment for involuntary manslaughter. Afterward, he was entitled to return home and live in safety. If the blood avenger killed him, then the avenger would be guilty of murder. Wow, like checks and balances, yep. Sure, you could go and kill that person, but then their people now have a right to go out and kill you and be completely, in the right for it. So a lot to consider. But that's interesting because, in previous books, we've read about, the blood avenger and unintentionally killing someone and all that. We've read about this many times in the cities of refuge. But this one footnote actually gives more insight. And so it's saying, so if judged, the killer would be put to death. Otherwise, the time he was required to spend in the city of refuge represented a less severe punishment for involuntary manslaughter. Because, a person had basically, this was pretty heavy stuff. You had to basically walk away from your home. If you wanted to live and wanted to see your loved ones again one day, then you had to basically walk away from your life, until the high priest died. So I guess you were hoping he was an old man, that's it might not be considered punishment enough for the person who loved the person who you accidentally killed, but it is a punishment to have to just walk away from your life, for sure. I would never want to have to live on the run, Okay, so 33 minutes I've been going. I'm going to go for one more chapter. Okay. So, let's see. 48 cities of the Levites. Okay, I'm in chapter 21. Then the heads of the households of the Levites came to Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun, and the heads of the households of the tribes of the sons of Israel. They spoke to them at Shiloh in the land of Canaan, saying, The Lord commanded Moses to give us cities to live in, with their pasture lands for our cattle. So the sons of Israel gave the Levites from their inheritance these 48 cities and their pasture lands in accordance with the command of the Lord. The first lot, in parentheses, allotment, came out of the families of the Kohathites. So those Levites who were sons in parentheses, descendants of Aaron, the priests received 13 cities by lot from the tribe of Judah and from the tribe of Simeon and from the tribe of Benjamin. The rest of the sons of Kohath received 10 cities by the lot from the families of the tribe of Ephraim and from the tribe of Dan and from the half tribe of Manasseh. The sons of Gershon received 13 cities by lot from the families of the tribe of Issachar and from the tribe of Asher and from the tribe of Naphtali and from the half tribe of Manasseh and Bashan. The sons of Merari, according to their families, received 12 cities from the tribe of Reuben and from the tribe of Gad and from the tribe of Zebulun. The sons of Israel gave by lot to the Levites these cities with their pasture lands, as the Lord had commanded through Moses. They gave these cities which are mentioned here by name from the tribe of the sons of Judah and from the tribe of the sons of Simeon. And they were for the sons of Aaron, one of the families of the Kohathites, of the sons of Levi, because the lot fell to them first. They gave them the city of Kiriath Arba, Arba being the father of Anak, that is Hebron. In parentheses, that is so the father of Anak, in parentheses, that is Hebron. In the hill country of Judah with its surrounding pasture lands, but the fields of the city and its villages they had given to Caleb the son of Jephunneh as his property. So to the sons of Aaron the priests they gave Hebron, the city of refuge for anyone who committed manslaughter, with its pasture lands, and Libnah with its pasture lands, and Jattir with its pasture lands, and Eshtemoa with its pasture lands, and Holon with its pasture lands, and Debir with its pasture lands, and Ain with its pasture lands, and Juttah with its pasture lands, and Beth Shemesh with its pasture lands. 9 cities from these 2 tribes, Judah and Simeon. From the tribe of Benjamin, Gibeon with its pasture lands, and Geba with its pasture lands, and Anathoth with its pasture lands, and Almon with its pasture lands. 4 cities, all the cities of the sons of Aaron, the priests, were 13 cities with their pasture lands. Then the cities from the tribe of Ephraim were allotted to the families of the sons of Kohath, the Levites, even to the rest of the sons of Kohath. They gave them Shechem, the city of refuge, for anyone who committed manslaughter, with its pasture lands, and in the hill country of Ephraim, and Gezer with its pasture lands, and Kibzaim with its pasture lands, and Beth Horon with its pasture lands. 4 cities from the tribe of Dan, Eltekeh with its pasture lands, Gibbethon with its pasture lands, Aijalon with its pasture lands, Gath Rimmon with its pasture lands. 4 cities from the half tribe of Manasseh they allotted Taanach with its pasture lands, Gath Rimmon with its pasture lands, 2 cities. All the cities were with their pasture lands for the families of the rest of the sons of Kohath, total 10. To the sons of Gershon, one of the families of the Levites, they gave from the other half tribe of Manasseh the city of Golan in Bashan, the city of refuge for anyone who committed manslaughter, with its pasture lands, and Be-eshterah with its pasture lands, 2 cities. From the tribe of Issachar they gave Kishion with its pasture lands, Daberath with its pasture lands, Jarmuth with its pasture lands, and Ganim with its pasture lands, 4 cities. From the tribe of Asher they gave Mishal with its pasture lands, Abdon with its pasture lands, Helkath with its pasture lands, and Rehob with its pasture lands, 4 cities. From the tribe of Naphtali they gave Kedesh in Galilee, of the city of refuge for anyone who committed manslaughter, with his pasture lands, and Hamath Dor with his pasture lands, and Kartan with his pasture lands, 3 cities. All the cities of the Gershonites, according to their families, were 13 cities with their pasture lands. To the families of the sons of Merari, the rest of the Levites they gave from the tribe of Zebulun, Jokneam with his pasture lands, and Karta with his pasture lands, Dimnah with his pasture lands, and Nehalal with his pasture lands. 4 cities from the tribe of Reuben they gave Bezer with his pasture lands, and Jahash with his pasture lands, Kedemoth with his pasture lands, and Mephiath with his pasture lands, 4 cities. From the tribe of Gad they gave Ramoth in Gilead, the city of refuge for anyone who committed manslaughter, with his pasture lands, and Mahanaim with his pasture lands, Heshbon with his pasture lands, and Jazer with his pasture lands, 4 cities in all. All these were the cities of the sons of Merari according to their families. The rest of the families of the Levites in their lot was 12 cities. All the cities of the Levites in the midst of the property of the sons of Israel were 48 cities with their pasture lands. These cities each had its surrounding pasture lands, so it was with all these cities. So the Lord gave Israel all the land which had been sworn to give, which he had sworn to give to their fathers, in parentheses, ancestors. And they took possession of it and lived in it. The Lord gave them rest from conflict on every side, in accordance with everything that he had sworn to their fathers, and not one of their enemies stood before them in battle. The Lord handed over all their enemies to them. Not one of the good promises which the Lord had spoken to the house of Israel failed. All had come to pass. Amen. Okay. So I'm down here in the footnotes. Okay. So verse 4. Okay. The first lot, in parentheses allotment, came out of the families of the Kohathites. So those Levites who were sons, in parentheses, descendants of Aaron, the priest, received 13 cities by lot from the tribe of Judah, and from the tribe of Simeon, and from the tribe of Benjamin. Okay. So it says down here, the Levites were divided into three groups. The descendants of Levi's three sons, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. But only those Israelites who were descendants of Levi through Kohath's grandson Aaron could be priests. The priesthood was made hereditary in the family of Aaron and restricted to it. However, even some of these were rendered ineligible by physical disabilities. See Levi chapter 21, verse 16. The other families of Levi's descendants, the Gershonites and Merarites, and those Kohathites who were not descendants from Aaron, were entrusted with the care of the sanctuary. The priests ministered at the altar. Okay. So I'm done for today. I've been going for 42 minutes, and praise God, I got other things to do. Hallelujah. But I'm glad to be back reading to you. And, that was interesting. And so I look forward to getting to the juicier parts of the Bible, right? But anyway, so of course, I want for God to bless you real good. I hope that you are blessed. Why are my eyes kind of blurry right now? Okay. I hope that you are blessed by what I read. And I hope that your soul is being fed by my reading. I hope that you are learning like I'm learning, reading in the Bible. I hope that you too are learning and enjoying this journey with me. And I thank you. I thank you so much. I love you, and I thank you for watching, for allowing me to pop up on your feed. And have a wonderful day, evening, night, weekend, wherever you are on this planet. Amen.